Hello, welcome on to this session on how to train effectively without picking up injuries, but still peak for times where you want to peak. So this is really about maintaining an exceptional level of health and physicality and fitness. Okay, so some of you are not really interested in this video, and that's fine. If you're kind of just here to train, to lose weight, then this is still interesting for you, but this is more for people who think that they must maintain a physical peak performance at all times. I'm here to say, unfortunately, it's not possible. And in fact, if you want to reach peak fitness and peak performance, then you have to trust this process, and it's scientifically proven, it works. This is the kind of thing that athletes are using to train for the Olympics or train for their specific sports, okay, which most of you obviously aren't doing, but some of you are training for marathons, you are training for triathlons, and you are training for Hyrox, which is what we're going to talk about today. So what we do at Witterings Fitness is something called GPP. Okay, so this is general physical preparedness, and typically athletes will train like this, in their off season. So it's multi-joint, there's balance, there's all these different facets of fitness that we can use to keep your body guessing. And what that does is it makes you robust and less likely to get injured and strong. Okay, now we basically deliver that the whole year round, because for most people who just want to get fit, lose some weight, and get strong and get healthy, GPP is really good. Like it's good enough to get most people really strong and robust, which is what kind of most people want. But there's a couple of you who want a bit more than that and you want to train for an event. So this is what we're going to talk about. So we have 12-week cycles where we'll focus on a theme. And the reason we do that is we've got different things that we can train you for. So you can train for power, you can train for strength, you can train for strength endurance, you can train for hypertrophy, depending on how you want to say it, depending if you're American or not. And those things change rep ranges, change your rest time, change all sorts of things. But basically, it keeps it interesting and it keeps your body guessing. So you're not training the same thing all the time. If you do the same thing all the time, you're just going to get bored and your body's just going to get normal, get used to it. And then within there, we have 2 6-week blocks. We have like a sort of basic getting into it phase, and then we have a build and push phase. So when you do your test at the end and you have your ideal targets, hopefully you're exceeding them here and maybe you're not quite reaching them here. So that's the way to think about how to use these targets that you get. And everyone can use these targets that you get in your MOT week. Within each 2-week period of that 6-week block, we have micro cycles. So we've got macro, meso, micro. You don't need to really know this, but it's kind of interesting. We do something where we go between bilateral and unilateral. And what that means is bi means 2. So you're using 2 arms, and then some weeks you're only using 1 arm or 1 leg. And the reason we do that is because, again, it just helps balance the body out, keeps you nice and robust, keeps you challenged. And the other thing we do in this 2-week block is we cycle different muscle groups. So it really keeps a lot of variety in the program, which is what your body needs to be robust. And we just follow that, and we follow that again, and that makes up our cycle of training. So that's a 12-week period, and obviously at the end we have our test week, which we call MOT week, which is really important to make sure that you get some sort of metric to show that you improved or you didn't improve and you need to do a bit more. And also you know how to train in the most effective way in the next cycle. So after power, it will be strength endurance. So we need a training weight that we can use for that cycle. So that's what that is. Now there's obviously 4 quarters to the year. I would suggest not trying to peak in fitness any more than twice in 1 year for most people. And you definitely can't train for like competitions all year round. Like no one can do that, not even serious athletes can do that. So this is what we do. We have periods of time where we're doing GPP, which, we encourage most of you to do 3 times of this a week. So when you're doing GPP, you can do 3 times a week. When you might also want to do one of the clubs, like you might want to go and do some running. Like if you're doing anything extra, it shouldn't be weights related really. I'm just purely talking in terms of like injury prevention here. I'm thinking more like go and do some cardio, because this is going to help get your energy up, gets you outside. Like there's other benefits of going outside and doing cardio. You don't need to be smashing in the gym all the time. That is not healthy. Now, if you can do that and you kind of listen to your body, and then you wanted to train for something. So let's say we go on a Hyrox thing here. Okay, fitness competition of some kind. Now we're going to increase the frequency and then intensity that we train. Now we're gonna like call this a push phase. You can still follow this. You can still have like a break in and then a real push, but you'll have a specific program to train for a specific event, and that's fine. Now, if you're doing Hyrox, we obviously provide the program for you. We also give you an extra coach. Like there's a lot that goes into that Hyrox program. If you're doing triathlon, then it's going to rely on you getting outside. You can obviously use some of the kit if you need to, but mostly it's outside training. If you're doing whatever event you're doing, there's going to be extra training that's probably going to be outside related, but still maintain your strength. Okay, when I trained for triathlon, I still did my strength training, which meant that I didn't get as many injuries as I perhaps would have done. Now, let's say this person did the Hyrox there in their second quarter. Now they really need to go back to this. They need to allow their body to recover. And over time, if you can do this effectively, then you will get much stronger over time. Okay, let me show you exactly what happens when you do this kind of thing. So we have our like the intensity that we're training, our fitness level, whatever, and then we have time. Okay, so over time we're going to push, and then we're going to peak out, and we need a little bit of time off. This happens on a big scale and on a small scale. So this could be like daily, like you do your workout, and then you need a day off to recover. You need a good sleep, and what happens here is your fitness is going to get your body's going to super compensate. So you're actually going to get a little bit fitter, and then you recover, you do your workout again, and then you recover and you do your workout again. And this can keep going. But if you try and go up too quickly, you're just going to get injured. Okay. Now this happens on a daily scale. Like I said, this could happen on a weekly scale. This also happens on a quarterly scale. So you might have a time of push, and then you need so there's Q1 and there's Q2, like you need time off. And if you then have another push in Q3, you've got the ability to go a little bit more, because you've only got this ability to push this much each time. That's all your body can really compensate in one go before you start getting niggles and you start getting injuries. If you've got niggles in your body are like a warning sign coming on in a car. So pay attention to your niggles, get yourself massaged, like take some time off training, or just don't train as intensely. Pretty much everybody can always train. It's just a matter of how hard are you pushing. And another thing that is really good for this is the Morpheus, is the heart rate monitor, because now you can manage your load much more accurately, and you can manage that recovery time much better as well. So that's all I have to say on this. If you have any questions about how this works, please let me know. The reason I made this video is because I see a lot of people trying to train 5 times a week, every week. Like, I don't train 5 times a week every week, and I'm one of the fittest here. So not being big-headed or anything, but you don't need to train 5 times a week to feel really good, maintain a really high level of health and fitness. All right, hope that helped, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.